Okay, welcome back. Something new this time. A car. Uh, I, I don't typically build cars. I know that I've kind of been, in the past, at least on my old channel, um, a bit critical of car kits. I know I've said that, yeah, you build one, you build them all. But that's kind of true of all kits. I'm very, very fond of ship kits, sales ship kits, whatever. And again, you built one, you kind of built them all. It's the same with cars. I'm bored by cars, so eh, I don't build them often. Um, my wife is a massive fan of the VWs, and we happen to be at Walmart looking at the palette display of model kits that they have there. That apparently my store being the only one that's doing it right now. I don't know. I got lots of friends on the relatively new group. They were born from the HobbyLink International crew, so we had to be chatting about it. And so far, appears I'm the only one who's seen this palette display. Um, so I've been grabbing kits here and there, and she spotted this one, and she says, "Build that." Uh, I hemmed and hawed, I'm not, again, don't like car kits, but I said, all right, fine, I'll build it. It has all of the elements that she loves. She's self-confessed hippie. I think she was born in the wrong decade. So I picked it up. Relatively inexpensive. I think it was like $21.95 or $23.95 or something like that. Very colorful, very psychedelic. Includes colorful display. I don't actually know what that looks like yet. I haven't opened this yet. It is apparently a cut back, shortened version of the Beetle. So that'll be interesting to see, because I have a Beetle I did on my old channel. It'll be interesting to put them side by side to see the differences, at least in the length. Very colorful. That apparently is the stand, the colorful display stand that it comes with. Again, we'll know more when we get it opened. She also wants me to keep it this color, yellow. So I happened to pick up the colors I needed to do that. So I figure we'll go ahead and get it open. We'll see what we got in the box, and we'll go from there. All right, so we got the box opened. Already I'm kind of noticing a few differences. Or at least, I'm expecting this to be a customed, sort of a upgraded Beetle. It looks like it comes with two different style of hubs. Some more modern alloy types, and then the original type. It also has this funny grill. I don't actually know what that is. I don't believe the Beetle actually had a grill on it of any kind. So anyway, those are the chrome parts. We'll keep looking. We got the windshield. Really big brake lights. Two different windshields. So this is going to be interesting, because it's giving me a lot of different options. Obviously, I'm going to have to look through the instructions to find out what that means. And we got the wheels. Got the rear wheels here, much wider racing slicks, and standard front wheels. Put those over there for now. This is a much smaller scale, I think, than the one that I have as well. Yeah. Looks nice, though. I mean, it's, for what it is, it definitely does look shorter on the back end. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see when I get it done, and I can put it up next to my other one. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through the instructions, because I don't know why it would have. I believe they're wheels, but they're plastic. I don't know. That's gonna be something to look into. Oh, wider rear wheels, but these aren't. They're not slicks. They actually have tread on them. But there's a lot of different configurations, I'm guessing. Yeah, all right. There's the hood. What else we got? We got decals. Those are interesting to look at as well because they're, again, they are very sort of funky, colorful. So we got the instructions. Oh, and this must be the display stand. I guess, oh yeah, okay, so you put it together yourself. So apparently there is a story behind this particular car too. I'm not going to read it off, but in 1971, apparently Coca-Cola had this massive campaign. I'm guessing this car was part of it. Neat little story. Here are these instructions. Again, they're putting up an awful lot of optional parts, it looks like. Oh, that's why. Okay, so we got 3 type. Well, no. Yeah, confusing. All right, so we got a street car. So that's going to have the treaded rear wheels. Okay, so there's 2 types of windshields. There's the clear and the tinted. And then we have the drag type. That's with the slicks on the back. And then we have the dune buggy type with the treaded, the heavy treaded. They made them out of plastic for some weird reason, but I'll have to figure out what style she's more inclined to. Oh, okay. So you can also do the dune buggy type without the top, and you just put on roll bars. That's interesting. I don't see her wanting that as an option, but I'll ask her. There we go. We got this some pretty cool details, and it looks like I'm going to have to make some decisions right off the bat because the engine layout is dependent on which style you choose. So for the dune buggy or the street and drag car, 2 different types. Interesting. Alright. Yeah, so yeah, alright. Got a heck of a color chart here. So that'll be fun. So there we go. I'll talk to her, find out what style she's more inclined to, and then I'll start building. It doesn't look like a terribly complicated kit. Most of it is in the underside, under the body, the chassis, I guess you'll call it. Even though the Beetle didn't have a sort of typical chassis or frame, so that looks like that, and the engine compartment is going to be the most complicated parts. So yeah, there we go. I'll figure out what she wants, make some decisions, and we'll start building. I made some decisions when we last talked. Again, I record these over the course of, days, in some cases a week or 2. I've kind of forgotten where we left off, but I do remember saying that I had some choices to make, because this kit does offer a fair number of choices. You can build it in a dune buggy style, a street or drag car style, or dune. And there's also, you can actually see them on the back of the instructions, starting with the street car. Now this is, of course, the one I'm going with. Just a basic street car. But you can build it. You can build it as a drag car. That I think the main difference between the drag car and the street car is that the drag car has the single seat, and it has the racing slick tires on the back. You also have the choice of the tinted window versus clear. I'm going with the tinted. And the dune buggy, of course, is you have two choices of a dune buggy. You have basically the dune buggy parts, including the big knobby tires, and they are plastic. I don't know if I like that anyway, so it's a good thing I didn't choose that. Or you can go with just the standard dune buggy, which is basically just the body or the chassis with the big knobby tires and an extra bit of roll cage with no Beetle body. I mean, that's kind of clever. I like the idea behind it, but I'm not going to go that route. Mainly because this isn't for me. This is my wife loves the Beetle. I built her several of these types of kits before. This one she really likes because, again, it speaks to her hippie sensibilities. So she wants the standard street car. Of course, yeah, it will still have a lot of sort of dune buggy features because it does have a bit of roll cage. I guess this thing was real. I was born just after 1971, so I don't have I have no knowledge on this whatsoever. But I guess they took this thing around and they toured with it, and basically hyping up Coca-Cola, which is great. You know, I love Coca-Cola myself. So I guess it's real, or it was. So in that way, I'm also going to go with some of the sort of standard parts colors. For the most part, this kit is chrome. There are a few parts that aren't, but it is mostly chrome. So I'm leaving the parts that are labeled chrome. That includes the engine. The engine, for whatever reason, is all chrome. I'm going to zoom in on that real quick here. So this engine is completely chrome, except for the fan belt, which I painted, and a couple little pieces inside there. But I don't know why, but that's the color it is. I'm going to treat it as though it is a show car, and I'm going to leave it this way. But up to now, all I have built is this engine. Now, to be fair, this engine was complicated. It's tiny. I mean, I built some small things before. This thing is just absolutely incredibly tiny. So, anyway, the engine is done. We've made our decisions. The next step is the wheels, I believe. And again, this is where I had to make decisions. My wife wants the street car, so we're going to go with the standard street tires. I think after that, it's the body, the chassis. So we'll get building that, get the tires done, and get the chassis started. And we should be back in a few minutes. got it all sort of done, I guess. I mean, it's, it's the chassis of a car. I will say, this being a very small scale, this was not a lot of fun. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever built. But like the wheels, they are meant to turn. And I know some people say, well, just glue them so they don't turn. Well, I know, but you got to try. You got to try to make them turn. And they do. But this kind of kit usually is a bit of a nightmare. And at this scale, it's even worse because, well, like the front wheels, it's an axle pin. It's not an axle like in the back. But to be fair, the axle in the back was harder to install. Because you got to use a very small amount of glue, and if you use too much, or you put it in the wrong place, nothing turns. I somehow managed it. The back wheels do turn. They're a little bit tight, but they do turn. The front wheels turn fairly freely. So I achieved that goal anyway. I mean, it is what it is. But it looks pretty good. I think, it looks like a Volkswagen chassis. So I'm fairly pleased with that. So next is the sort of like the last bits of detail before you put the body on. Steering wheel, the seats, the gas tank. I assume that's the gas tank. So we'll get those installed next, and then we'll be back for the body. I think I'm going to do the decals on the body before I install it on the chassis, just because I feel like that's the easiest way to go. So there we are, and we'll be back. Here we are. It's looking more and more like something. I've run into a few problems, and this is where I'm going to start putting blame on the brand AMT. I've never built a car kit, a truck kit, any kind of AMT kit where I didn't have problems, mainly because of the instructions. Alright, well, let me start off with this. We got to the point where we mounted the wheel, the bars, these things here. Problem is, when the instructions say, okay, install the battery, that's part 29. It just points vaguely in a direction. It doesn't say, does it go up here on the passenger side, in the footwell, or does it go up here? Does it go? They're very imprecise in those areas. So I'm guessing. You know what I mean? The fuel tank, it says to backbone just behind seats. What does that mean? You know what I mean? I know where the backbone is, and I know where the seats are going to go, but it doesn't say, it doesn't have pinholes, it doesn't have any kind of guides to say it needs to be up here, it needs to be back here, it needs to be under. Where? So it's up there. That's where I glued it. That's where it's going to go. The seats will still fit in front of it, so that's not really a problem. Again, there's a lot of guesswork with this stuff. This kit came with a dashboard. Great, looks good. Actually very reminiscent of a Volkswagen dashboard. No mention of it in the instructions anywhere. Even if I thought I could use it, I don't know how I would mount it. So I don't. So far though, it doesn't matter because I think the dash area is meant to be wide open to begin with, because It actually came with a gauge that mounts to the wheel. Um, so, dashboard, unnecessary. I don't know why they would do that. So, this is where we are. We're running into the same problems you run into with all AMT kits. These things here, they are glued on because I did dry fit them as well. I think those are meant to hold the body up. The problem is they don't touch the body unless I squeeze the body a little bit. I don't think that's supposed to be the way it's done. But they are where the instructions say to put them. I don't know. I'm very confused by those. But without them, I don't know how the body is meant to stay on top of everything. I mean, there's nothing holding it otherwise. So, yeah, I'm already having problems with this kit. I'm almost done, so I'm not going to cry about it. I'll find a way to make this fit. I'll probably end up having to squeeze it and then glue it in place, because there really looks to be no other alternative for it. So I think that's as good as that's going to get. So I'll touch up and paint everything that needs to be touched up. I'll paint the seats. We'll get them installed. And then we'll work on the decals and the final clear coat for the body. I did paint it, so that is the color it's going to be. I'm not impressed with the paint, though. It was meant to be a gloss yellow, and it's very faded looking. To be fair, it doesn't matter. I'm clear coating it anyway, but I expected better than that. So, anyway, that's where we are. I'll finish up the touch-ups. We'll go on to decals, and then we'll be back with the finished product. All right, we're done. I'm not sure where to begin. Decals went on real smooth. I'm actually quite shocked at the sheer amount of chrome on it as well. But then again, as I said, I think it's meant to be a show car. If the story on the box is true and correct, 1971, they drove it around all over the country, promoting Coca-Cola, love, peace, all that stuff, the hippie thing. It looks good for what it is. Again, I'm not a car fan. I'm especially not a Volkswagen fan. I only build these if my wife requests them. But it's not bad, again, for what it is. There was a lot of guessing games. Again, the instructions are really bad with this kit. To be fair, this kit didn't suffer from the same problems that most of the other AMT kits suffered from, in terms of numbered parts, color charts. At least there was a color list. You could see what it wanted you to paint. It also had numbered parts, which is great. Numbered instructions, numbered parts, everything was there. The flashing on the molds weren't too bad. It's just there's so many configuration options with this particular kit. You can make 3 or 4 different types of VWs. The sheer amount of decals. There's so many different types. I just picked the ones I thought my wife would like the most. But there was just so much guessing going on with this. The instructions would say put a part here. It didn't tell you or show you accurately how it was configured. It just said glue it there. Just terrible instructions. One of my biggest problems was the exhaust. With this particular Volkswagen configuration, I didn't know that the exhaust was meant to be ported under the engine, under the cylinder heads, I guess they call them. The instructions showed them above, so it almost looked like the exhaust ends were sticking out of the trunk or hood. It's hard to call that a hood when it's on the back like that. I had to completely remove them and glue them under so that they all showed up under the back of the car, which I guess is the proper way to do it, but I didn't know that. Again, the instructions are so terrible. It had a lot of parts that weren't even listed in the instructions. The dashboard, for instance, isn't in here, which I guess is the way it's meant to be. But it comes with a dashboard, perfectly good Volkswagen dashboard, that it doesn't mention at all in the instructions. But I mean, you know, the headaches aside, and again, if you go into AMT kits knowing about these problems, you know, then you're probably going to have a much easier time. I've built many AMT kits. Most of them are trucks, so I'm used to that. I'm done ranting on AMT. Some of them are good. You know, my last cab over truck was really good. It really was. And this one wasn't terrible either. Again, it's just learning to understand the instructions that they give. But I like it. It's a cute little car. It'll go good in my wife's little Volkswagen collection. But it's cute, you know. Certainly has a peace love sort of attitude to it, doesn't it? So yeah, I mean, you know, if you're into Volkswagens and you know, you don't mind a slightly smaller scale, I should bring in my other kit and put it up alongside this just to see how the scales match up. I'm going to do that and be right back. All right, so there's our comparison. You know, to be fair, I don't think it's that far off. In fact, I think it's almost exactly the same scale. Did not come with the Volkswagen insignia as this kit does. I think no, that does not. However, of course, this is a totally different kit. I mean, it you know, this one has working steering. It has a trunk lid or hood lid in the back that opens and closes, whereas this one does not. But this is meant to be more of a buggy anyway. But you can see the scale is pretty close. It's really not far off in terms of its length. And again, this buggy version is meant to be cut back anyway. I think I showed that in the introduction to the video. So there we go. I mean, it looks pretty good. I'm not, you know, completely displeased with it. You know, have the typical issues that you have with AMT kits. That's just normal. It looks pretty good, and it wasn't. It was almost fun to build. I don't want to say it was like a lot of fun because, you know, I don't enjoy building cars. My thing is ships and things like that. There we go. That's a 1971 Coca-Cola Volkswagen Beetle by AMT. So you know, if you're lucky and you have a Walmart that's stocking model kits for some reason, look for it, pick it up. It was $21 or $23. It wasn't terribly expensive. And it was kind of fun. So pick it up, enjoy, and thanks for watching.